Councilor Corran.
That was fire and covered a lot of the things that I was thinking more clearly than I can highlight. But I can attest to the number of folks who were calling me and saying, someone came to my door and told me things that I know aren't true. They menaced me by suggesting that my neighborhood would become devalued and with potentially diverse people. I know folks were put off by much of what they heard at the door, including a series of lies. So I would say, I appreciate the process that we've laid out, and also that it is possible to do a petition campaign. I think in the time frame that is outlined, I was actually surprised that there were a bunch of extra weeks added on. That seemed really benefit of the doubt to me. I know the last successful petition campaign definitely finished in the first set of petition signatures. So that sort of gave me a strong picture of what was happening, and all the folks who called me and said, I signed up because someone told me something that wasn't true to get me to sign, or people who were saying, these I didn't sign, but wow, I heard a lot of things that were really alarming to me. So I figured, all of those folks, once we sort of look at the calculus of the number of folks who had regrets for signing, would also be a pretty big dent in the number and the total, but we don't have to go there for that. I'll tell you about one of my residents who wanted to build a carport. He was really excited. He gave inputs in several versions of Realize over 2 years. He added his inputs. He also does a lot of residential remodeling. He wanted to build a carport and an ADU, and he was just waiting for Realize to pass. And when it did, he was ready to submit his permits to community development, and he heard that there was a petition campaign and that he would have to wait. And in that time, about 60 days, that he had to wait for this streamlined process that allows people to do what they want with their own personal property. The cost of the materials, due to political factors that he was going to use, increased by something like 64% in the days that this petition was being collected. So I just want to sort of say to the folks who are out there collecting petitions, know that there was a cost, right? There was a cost because folks don't like to be lied to. And there was a cost to all the folks who are counting on Realize to really enable them to do what they choose with their property. And so we hear from those folks too. So just so you know, what appears on a petition isn't the only input that we've had along this process. And so I just want to sort of give another gratitude to Mayor Pro Tem for really talking about what's at stake here. And I do want to just sort of say, the idea that City Council should send everything to a vote, that's known as direct democracy. And I think it's fascinating that folks are demanding direct democracy on a 400-page zoning reform. Somehow we passed the budget without a single public comment. I don't know if any of you, I thought that's what everyone was here for today, because there's something else at stake. There are things that we make decisions about that we are trusted to make decisions about as City Council, and we're expected to do the homework, and we're expected to get public participation, and we're expected to have integrity of our words and our actions and our money. And sending everything to the vote would be, I have no doubt that Realize would pass easily if we did send it to a vote, but that's not how we do things. We have a job to do, and it is making policy, deciding the budget, and making Realize happen today. So I call the question.